Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty fundamental, something behind, nearly 80% of all the chemical products we use every day, catalysis.
That's right. And it's everywhere, even if you don't think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. For anyone tracking material science or, sustainable chemistry, the stakes here are huge.
Yeah.
We keep bumping into this issue with certain materials, especially platinum.
Mm-hmm. Very effective, but problematic.
Exactly. So today we'll explore a really groundbreaking discovery that might just change how we design these crucial processes, making them greener, more efficient.
And using much, much less of those precious materials. It's fascinating because catalysis itself is just so foundational.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Pharmaceuticals, fuels, even the catalytic converter in your car exhaust or the latest fuel cells, they all rely on catalysts.
These special substances speeding things up.
Exactly. They accelerate these vital chemical reactions. Without them, many processes wouldn't be practical or even possible on an industrial scale.
Okay, so catalysis isn't just some obscure science term. It's really the engine room, you could say, of modern chemistry. It touches almost everything. For those of us watching this space, its reach is, it's immense.
It really is.
But you mentioned problematic. Despite being so common, there's this big, expensive challenge lurking there. What is that core issue? Why is it so persistent?
Well, the persistent challenge largely has been our heavy reliance on platinum.
Ah, yes, the platinum problem.
Exactly. It's incredibly effective, a real workhorse catalyst, no doubt about that. But it's also incredibly rare and very expensive. And on top of that, the process of actually getting it, producing it, releases quite a lot of carbon dioxide.
Not great for sustainability goals.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So there's this really urgent drive in the field to figure out, okay, how can we use much, much less of this stuff while keeping that high performance or maybe even, boosting it?
Right. Less input, same or better output. So the platinum problem is clear. But I know scientists have been working on a really innovative way around this. Yeah. Single atom catalysts.
SECs.
Yes, SECs. That's where things get really interesting.
So break that down for us. What are these single atom catalysts and how do they help solve this platinum issue?
Okay, so single atom catalysts are, pretty much what the name suggests. You take individual platinum atoms, just single atoms, and you spread them out very carefully across a supporting surface.
Like scattering tiny diamonds on a big sheet.
Sort of, yeah, but a very specific sheet. It's usually a porous material, often carbon-based. Think of like a sponge-like structure at the nano level.
Okay.
Now, crucially, this carbon support isn't just plain carbon. It's usually engineered or doped, maybe infused is a better word, with nitrogen atoms.
Nitrogen? Why nitrogen?
The nitrogen is key. These nitrogen atoms act like tiny atomic scale anchors or little docking stations. They grab onto each individual platinum atom and hold it securely in place on that carbon surface. Got it. So they stop the platinum atoms from clumping together.
Exactly that. And this ensures that pretty much every single platinum atom you put in is exposed and ready to do its job to participate in the chemical reaction. You're maximizing the efficiency of the tiny amount of platinum you're using. No wasted atoms hiding inside a bigger particle.
That sounds incredibly efficient. A really smart way to use less material. But you mentioned a big discovery. A team at ETH Zurich, led by Javier Perez Ramirez and Christophe Copperet, with collaborators too, right? They found something surprising about these SACs.
They did, yeah. And this was the real aha moment, I think. We, or the field generally, sort of assumed that once you anchored these single atoms, they were all pretty much in the same situation, chemically speaking, doing the same job in the same way.
Okay, makes sense. Uniformity.
But their work showed it's actually much more complex. They discovered that each individual platinum atom sits in a slightly different local environment. Its immediate neighborhood, the specific arrangement of carbon atoms, nitrogen atoms, maybe even an oxygen atom nearby is unique.
So like houses on a street, they all have slightly different neighbors.
That's a great analogy, yeah. And crucially, these tiny differences in the atomic neighborhood directly affect how well that specific platinum atom performs as a catalyst. It's catalytic personality, if you will.
Wow. Okay, that changes things. It's not just about having single atoms, but about where they sit and what's right next to them.
Precisely. It completely shifts how you need to think about designing and making these catalysts.
That level of detail, understanding that variability at the atomic scale, that must be a huge shift for the field. But hang on. If these individual atoms and their tiny, unique environments are the key, and you can't really get that level of detail from, say, an electron microscope,
Yeah.
I mean, how do they even manage to see this? How do you map out that atomic neighborhood?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yep.
You're spot on. Electron microscopes are powerful. They give us these amazing images. You can see the dots that are single atom.
That's impressive.
Very impressive. But it doesn't tell you much about their chemical state or, crucially, their catalytic properties. It's like seeing a musician but not hearing the music they make.
Okay, so what was the key? How do they listen to the atoms?
The breakthrough technique here was nuclear magnetic resonance, NMR.
NMR, that sounds familiar. Like MRI in hospitals.
Exactly like MRI. It's the same fundamental principle. MRI looks at, typically, the nuclei of hydrogen atoms in water in your body. NMR can look at the nuclei of many different types of atoms, in this case, platinum.
Okay, so how does NMR work for platinum atoms scattered on carbon?
Well, NMR works by looking at the spin of atomic nuclei. It's a quantum property. You put the material in a really strong magnetic field, and then you hit it with oscillating radio waves, like tuning a radio. The nuclei absorb and re-emit this energy at very specific frequencies. They're resonant frequencies.
And that frequency tells you something.
It tells you a lot. The exact resonant frequency of a platinum nucleus is incredibly sensitive to its immediate surroundings. What atoms are nearby? Is it next to a carbon? A nitrogen, maybe an oxygen atom that's stuck on? And even how it's oriented relative to that big magnetic field we applied. All these factors slightly change the local magnetic field the nucleus feels, and that shifts its tune, its resonant frequency.
Ah, so each unique neighborhood gives a slightly different NMR signal, a different note.
Precisely. You end up with not just one signal, but a whole spectrum of signals, like a complex chord or even an orchestra playing. Each platinum atom in a slightly different environment contributes its own unique frequency, its own tone.
An atomic orchestra. I like that. But if you have thousands, millions of these atoms all playing slightly different notes, how on earth do you figure out which instrument, which specific atomic environment is producing which tone? It sounds incredibly messy.
It is incredibly messy, or at least it was. That was the major hurdle. Untangling that complex signal was the key challenge they had to overcome.
So how did they crack it? Was it just sheer computational power, or was there more to it? You mentioned collaborators.
Well, there's a really nice story here, actually. A bit of that human element and maybe some serendipity in science.
Oh.
So Perez Ramirez and Copere, the lead researchers at ETH, they apparently had the initial idea to really push NMR for this problem after a chance meeting. They were both part of this Swiss research program called NCCR Catalysis.
Okay, so a meeting sparked the idea.
Right. But the real bit of luck, or maybe fortunate coincidence, came later. One of them was visiting collaborators in Lyon, France. And while there, purely by chance, they met a simulation expert from Aarhus University in Denmark who just happened to be visiting Lyon at the same exact time.
Wow, talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. And this chance meeting led to a vital collaboration. This simulation expert, working together with the ETH team, developed the specific, highly specialized computer code they needed. This code was the key to filtering out all those overlapping signals, to basically deconstruct the orchestra and identify each instrument, each type of atomic environment around the platinum atoms.
That's fantastic. It really shows how collaboration, sometimes unexpected connections, can unlock major scientific problems.
Absolutely. It wasn't just one group. It took this combination of experimental expertise in catalysis and NMR plus high-level computational modeling.
Okay, so they developed this incredibly powerful method, this way to map the atomic neighborhoods using NMR and clever computation. What does this actually let scientists do now? What's the big impact? What's the so what here?
So what is pretty significant? Essentially, they can now create a detailed map. This map shows exactly what types of atoms, carbon, nitrogen, etc., are surrounding each platinum atom and roughly their positions.
An atomic blueprint, almost.
Kind of, yeah. And this analytical method, being able to get this level of detail, it really sets a new standard, a new benchmark in the field of catalysis.
And the practical benefits.
Several big ones. First, scientists can now design single-atom catalysts much more intelligently. Instead of just scattering atoms and hoping for the best, they can aim for specific atomic environments they know are highly active. They can create more uniform catalysts where most atoms are in that optimal state.
More consistency, better performance.
Exactly. This opens the door to faster, cleaner chemical reactions because your catalyst is just working better. And crucially, it means you can achieve that performance using even less platinum because you're making every atom count. And less waste is generated in the process, too.
So it directly pushes forward that goal of sustainable chemistry.
Absolutely. It improves how we make catalysts and how effectively we use them. And another important point, the method itself is described as being broadly accessible. It's not some unique machine only they have. Others can use this NMR approach to optimize their own catalyst production methods.
Making sure all their platinum atoms have those tailored high-performance neighborhoods.
That's the goal. And just one more practical angle, being able to describe your catalyst with this level of atomic precision. Well, that also allows you to protect your invention. You can actually get patents on catalysts defined by these specific atomic structures. That's really important for getting these discoveries out of the lab and into industry.
Right. Commercialization needs that protection. Okay, so they have this amazing new map, this powerful tool. What's the immediate next challenge for the team? Where do they go from here?
Well, knowing the ideal environment is one thing. The next really big challenge is figuring out how to reliably create catalysts where essentially all, or at least the vast majority, of the platinum atoms are sitting in that perfect tailored environment. Scaling that up, ensuring that uniformity across the whole batch of catalyst material, that's the next frontier.
Making the perfect atomic neighborhood the standard, not the exception.
You got it. That's the engineering challenge now.
What a fascinating journey we've been on today. Really diving deep into catalysis, uncovering this hidden complexity in what seemed maybe deceptively simple, these single-atom catalysts.
Yeah, they're anything but simple when you look closely.
And seeing the power of NMR, a technique many might know from medicine, being used to map the invisible atomic world with such precision. Plus, that lovely touch of serendipity, the chance meeting that helped crack the code.
It's often how science moves forward, isn't it? Those unexpected connections.
It really is. And if we kind of zoom out, connect this back to the bigger picture, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, imagine a future where our chemical industry isn't just more efficient, but dramatically less impactful on the environment, all because we've learned to engineer matter, to control it with this incredible precision right down at the level of individual atoms.
It's a powerful vision. And maybe a final thought for you, our listeners, to ponder. Consider this. If we can now map and potentially control the environment of single atoms in catalysts with this kind of clarity, what other fields could this level of atomic understanding transform? Think beyond chemistry. What new materials, what currently unimaginable solutions could we unlock if we truly understood the neighborhoods of every single atom in complex systems? What becomes possible then?